に使命をかけて燃える街にあとわずか届く叫びを耳にして帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマン十字を組んで狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んで流星パンチ近くに立ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマン
Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 45. My name is Red, I'm joined by Mel.
Here comes the boy.
Here comes the fucking boy. I'm also joined by Brad.
Friendship ended with dinosaur kaiju. Now bird kaijus are my best friend.
Hell yeah. Coming
It's called
up...
Evolution.
It's called... yeah.
Oh shit, oh my god!
Coming up, we have got weird romantic stuff, and we've got spoilers in the titles.
Continuity.
Continuity. I have questions about continuity, given what happens in the third. Yeah. All right. Well, before we get to any of that, I'm gonna start. I got some stuff to share. I have been very busy this week, and I've had stuff happening, and so I still have not finished Disco Elysium. However, I am very close to the end, and it's not like I'm not gonna talk about the fucking ending on this podcast. So I can talk about Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium's fucking great. That's a great video game. I think I have a great admiration for that game's system, like the basically the RPG system that they devised, because it's 2d6. You have like 4 base stats, and each of those stats has 5 skills, and everything is handled within those skills in a way that has been popular in like several like a couple of branches of like indie role-playing games over the last like 10-20 years. Like the most significant example I can think of is like Blades in the Dark. Obviously everything is just those like 15 skills or whatever it is, or 12 skills. Mm-hmm. Actions. Everyone has their own words for it. And the thing that I particularly like about all these 5 skills, because your stats are like intellect, psyche, physique, and motorics. And so, if you've got D&D brain, you're like, well, intellect, that's intelligence, and physique, that's like strength and constitution, and motorics, that's like dexterity, and then psyche, I guess, is like, I don't know, wisdom. But the truth, a lot of the like traditional role-playing skill, they're kind of mapped kind of very differently, because your psyche is like your people person abilities, but your ability to tell whether someone is lying and your ability to like lie and create performances yourself is tied to intellect under the like drama skill. Also, like, you have a visual calculus skill under intellect, and you have a perception skill under motorics. Like, it's literally like, it's like tied to your vision, your eyes. And there's a lot of just cool stuff with making social, like doing social stuff with your physique and motorics abilities. that I think is very inventive. I'm a big fan of. I particularly like the composure skill, which is just like keeping yourself from breaking, like
Not throwing up in gross situations.
So not throw. That's I think that's endurance. Is the physique one. The other thing tied to this is that all your equipment, all your clothes that you buy, that you find, you can create some truly ludicrous outfits, and you are encouraged to, because each piece of your clothing, of your outfit, gives you different pluses and minuses to your abilities, and these like a +1 is a lot because it's 2d6 plus your bonuses, and as far as I can tell, the highest difficulty check in this game is 20. And that's like labeled as impossible. And so there is you can get a lot more done with a +1 to something. And I really like that. I like it's that XP is always 100 XP to the next level, and you always get the same thing, which is like 1 skill point to do with whatever you like. You can put it into any, you can put it into any skill you like, so long as you have enough space in the learning cap, because the learning cap is set by your stats, which is very cool. But you can also use it to open. You have a thought cabinet, and you can pick up these more complex ideas throughout the game as thoughts occur to your character, you put these into your thought cabinet to internalize them, and while they're getting internalized, they give you a particular bonus or negative, and then once they're internalized, the bonus changes. And once they're internalized, they're stuck there in your thoughts, in your brain. And you can open up more space in the thought cabinet using a skill point, or you can unlearn a thought with a skill point. And it's just like the decision making between like putting it into a skill and like using it to open up more space to internalize thoughts is fantastic. The game is like the only game I've played that is just like save scumming is just like very obviously not a good idea. Like it's just failure's good. Failure's fun. Failure gives you like stuff to chew on. There is only like 2 times I've deliberately save scummed something, which was like one time I did a check, because you got white checks and red checks. White checks can be retried once you've buffed your skill. Red checks are one-time checks. You can never do them again. And the red check, I failed a red check, and before realizing it was a red check, and then I walked away from the scenario and was like, oh, I have on, it was a savoir-faire check, which is like, I can't get into it. The skills have cool names. And I was like, oh, I'm wearing my trousers that reduce my savoir-faire. Why was I doing that? And I was just like, if I'd thought about it for like a second, I'd have walked away from the ladder and then put on a different pair of fucking trousers. And so I did that. I save scummed that. I save scummed one other thing where I was having a great time, and I did a red check thinking like, well, this is going to be good. And then the stakes were, the stakes of failure were not laid out to me. And the stakes were a little shocking. You can attempt to convince Kim to do something. And if you fail, you say some truly heinous shit to him. And I was like, I'll see what this scene is and let it play out, but I'm not sure I feel great about this. And I reloaded that, and that was the one thing. Those were the 2 save scums I did. All the rest of the time, I just let failure lie, because it's good. The last thing of note in Disco Elysium is this is just like one of the best written games I've ever played.
It's
every
really
character
fucking
is
good.
every character is so. I'm just. The game is so funny. It's so funny and so. Like, the game has so much sympathy for characters that it doesn't need to have sympathy for.
Like people attempting to make a radio-based MMORPG. Did you do that side quest?
Yes, I did do that. This is
Is this someone who knows the Plaster Esports guy?
Disco Elysium is a very interesting setting. Yes. It was like the game has like I was talking to a character and kind of getting to know him, and then kind of like unintentionally unearthed that he had like he was a fascist. He didn't know he was a fascist, but his thinking was aligning with being a fascist. And like he's an alright guy. He's like fine. He's hanging out with his mates, and he might not turn out bad. Like he might turn out alright, but it's like in like his teenage years, he's like I had to dig deep and have like high like skills, high numbers in like certain like intellect skills to kind of like, hang on, isn't this like how fascists think? It's weird. And like they don't need to do this. There's a lot of, it's all set in like a post like revolutionary world. There's like failed revolution, and like there's something very funny about this game that I've seen posted a couple places, and I just have to reiterate is like, sometimes people say like people seem to think about Disco Elysium is like, oh well, it criticizes communism, and it criticizes it. Everything it has to say about communism is the kind of shit that communists say about communism. All the jokes at the expense of the communists are so laser targeted, and it's really funny. Who
criticizes communists more than other communists?
Yes.
Yeah. So I played Disco Elysium before the like director's cut stuff was out. I got a little over the halfway point. The things I will always take away from that game is when you will just find a thread to tug on in the world that is just like, oh, this is a side quest for me to do while I'm unraveling this larger mystery. And you just end up going into these conversations where you're not expecting it, but you're suddenly unmasking like horrendous, like large profile truths about the world.
Yes.
Both in like a political sense sometimes, and the current state of geopolitical politics and your place in them, and then also sometimes metaphysical truths about the world.
Yes.
That are fascinating to consider.
So you will get you will find this delightful. When I bought this game, I was like, well, this is like a near future game, like set in our world, set in like a post-apocalyptic setting, maybe. But I think it's basically kind of our world in the near-ish future. I was not expecting all that fucking shit. I was not expecting the pale. Anyway.
Yeah.
The final thing I need to fucking say is I don't understand the instinct to play this with full voice acting. I don't get it. It would be intrusive. It would take forever. It would be tyrannical in a way. In the way that voice acting is kind of inherently tyrannical when the game is about the written word. You read this game. You read these games. Every time I've heard anyone say like, I want these games to have like full voice acting. I'm like, no, you don't. Don't lie to you. Don't lie, please. You don't
it would
want
make
that.
them so much slower.
I have had a great time reading in this game. I turned it to classic, just because the voice acting that is there that I'm getting is good. I don't want it all the time, because the other thing you have is like this range of emphasis when you have partial voice acting, that I think is important to these games, where you can spend hours just clicking the next option in like a list of lore drops. If like those don't need voice acting, don't do it. Partially because you should be able to emphasize when something is like, this is not, this is, when something is like, I can read it, I can kind of like skim through it, is like, I don't know. It bugs me, the idea that Disco Elysium it benefits from every word in it is performed by a voice. I'm like, I don't think it does. Also, I've seen a little bit of what the full voice acting is, and all the internal thoughts have the same voice. No. No. Yeah. All the internal thoughts are drama does not talk like conceptualization. Drama is I love drama. So drama is my signature skill, and drama is like simpering like advisor. Is like my worm tongue. It's like drama calls me sire with multiple S's. It's so good.
I went full Inland Empire, and I did not regret my decision.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Inland Empire is like literally like weird fantasies inside your brain, just like pure guts, pure like I don't know. It
is the Lynchian skill in the sense that it throws a bunch of horseshit and bullshit your way, but it somehow also helps you get closer to the emotional truth of the matter, which I found fascinating. Like, they understand what makes Lynch stuff work when it's firing on all cylinders, and I could not believe that they not only replicated that, but replicated it in the context of a broader RPG where it doesn't take over and become the focus. Very impressive.
The other thing about this game is it's not that long. I don't have that much long left, and I haven't been playing it forever. And it's again, like I mentioned last week, when the game is longer, it to me discourages role playing a little bit, because I'm just going to play the game how I would do things in the scenario, because I'm never playing this again. But I am absolutely playing this game again one day, and because I went with a high intellect, low psyche character, and I know that's going to be wildly different to play with high psyche, because there's just a lot here, and when I was looking at when it was like coming to make a character, and it was like, oh, you can be the thinker, or you can be you can have high intellect, high psyche, or you can go with like a high physical build with high physique and like pretty high motorics. And I was looking at that, and then there's the option to go with custom character, and I went with custom character. But I was looking at these three archetypes, and I was looking at the physical build, and I was going like, isn't this game all about fucking talking? How would that work? It would fucking work. It would work. Very good video game. Now I've talked about it for too long.
I have one last question. This can be a short yes or no.
Yes.
Did you meet the
I did. I did.
That's a good scene. Okay, we can move on.
That's good. What are the mechanical similarities between Disco Elysium and Tokimeki Memorial?
There's some randomization that leads to alternative takes on narrative.
There is
there's a time system.
Yeah, you can do things at only certain times of day. Like if you want to, anyway.
Also, I should say if you're interested, I do know that there are, I think, actually multiple fan translations at this point of the book that started the fictional universe that Disco Elysium takes place in.
Oh, because yes, the guy that got fired is an author.
Yes.
Right.
And then when they were making the game, they're like, well, why don't we just use this? You already wrote a really in-depth world for your book. So
All right. Next up, I got two more things. These are not real things, but they're real to me. And on account of the fact I didn't have the shit, I couldn't do shit this week. I was on YouTube. Fauna Wild's series Fauna finished her Outer Wild Let's Play.
it's really weird
last
that
night.
you're the one talking about this and not me, but go ahead.
The Let's Play is back, baby. With streams are for losers. Let's Plays are king. Have been all this time. Every time I've seen someone say, I'm streaming Outer Wilds, mixed feelings every time, because I'm like, your chat is going to ruin this game for you. What are you doing? And Fauna Wilds was perfect. There was one huge question mark left over at the end of the game that has simply chef's kiss, just perfect, just absolutely fantastic. She just completely missed one thing that she should not have. She can't. It was getting ridiculous. It was so good. But yes, Let's Plays, they're where it's at. The other thing that happened last week, we recorded the podcast in between the two, in between, like in the middle of the Hololive Mario Kart tournament, the New Year Cup that they do every year. That I watch religiously. I'm the only person that cares this much. It was, it was an alright showing. This year, we have yet to get a rematch of the Ultimate, because the reason I care is because there is a video that people should watch. I can't. No, the thing is, you shouldn't, because it's 5.5 hours long. There's a 5.5 hour long compilation of the 2021 New Year Cup of the Hololive Mario Kart New Year Cup that is genuinely a work of art that dwells on, what it means to be in first place, what it means to be a winner, what rivalry, what is victory? Anyway, that's it. That's what I did this week. I managed to fill 20 minutes.
My VTuber update is that Alira Pandora called me iconic because I told her about the time I looked at PS1 disc.
What?
Here, I'll post it in the chat.
I did. I saw the DS licking thing that she was talking about. We all licked DS cartridges, not DS only discs. I had a scratched up PS1 game as a kid, and sometimes if I licked it, it would work. I don't think it was actually helping, but in my head it did. She's right. This is iconic.
That made my day. It was very funny.
All right.
It was Tiny Tank, if anyone's wondering.
Tiny Tank. Okay.
This is a game where you played as a little tiny tank.
You know what? I guessed.
Yeah.
That's me. Who's going next?
I want to keep the order that we have canonized going because I got jack shit, but I do want to talk about something I've been talking a little bit about.
For a second, I thought you were going to say you played Jak and Daxter or something.
No. I finished something that I've given a few updates about here and there, and I chose to stop giving updates until it was done. Me and my friends finished Nathan Fielder's show, The Curse. I should say Nathan Fielder, Benny Safdie, and Emma Stone's The Curse, because all three of them make up a very interesting trio of flawed characters, and that entire show is an exploration of the ways in which people exploit each other, while also dealing with very unfair stresses in their lives, but then also how they double down on being terrible, and it's very clear that they are more infatuated with the idea of how, like, they want to help people in the sense that they they help people and do things for the quote-unquote benefit of others because it makes them feel like they're good people and they're doing something good for themselves. But they don't actually have it in them to look at the big picture of anything that they do and see the material impact that they're having on the world and others around them, and also how their misconceptions of the world and how it works lead them time and time again to failing and struggling through life. There has been a lot of talk about the final episode and the ending. I do not think that... So, before the final episode aired, some people involved with the production were like, you're not going to be able to predict how this show ends. And I think that ended up having a lot of people who were invested in the show viewing the whole thing like a puzzle box, and drawing a lot of conclusions based off of very minor, subtle things going on in the narrative that I think are mostly there just to show you the character's worldview and explore characterization. I think a lot of people thought that it was going to pay off into some big grand reveal, and it doesn't. It is a very surreal and weird out there ending I don't want to talk too much about. The only thing I'll say is that Emma Stone's great, Benny Safdie's great, Nathan Fielder, you are, in that final episode, you are seeing him ascend to heights you didn't think were possible, and just when you don't think he could go any higher, he goes higher. And I'm very curious what that man does next, because it's just out of this world. So The Curse is overall pretty good. I don't know if I like it as much as his reality TV stuff. I just think that when people are involved that, you know, aren't in on the joke and it's not as scripted, I think he kind of excels more in that format. Mm-hmm. But Nathan Fielder can absolutely do a scripted show as well and lead to some interesting results. My final takeaway on it, honestly, is that it feels like a show that 15 years from now, people are going to rediscover and be like, oh, this was saying some really interesting shit at the time that other shows would not have dared get into. Yeah, I'm just real happy with how it turned out. Honestly, Emma Stone, probably, like, I like Emma Stone a lot. I think this was maybe the best I've ever seen from her. Very impressive. Just played, like, the peak, the apex of white privileged lady with shitty landlord parents trying to be a social justice icon. It just fucking incredible.
Nice
character. Yeah. Go watch The Curse. It's 10 episodes. It's a good time. It's very fucking weird. Might not be for you. You might hate it, but it's interesting. And honestly, that's what I want from art. So, hey, actually, perfect segue. You know what you might fucking hate, but is interesting to talk about and is a very bizarre piece of art? Have either of you two heard of the PS1 game Mizzurna Falls?
No.
No.
I have not. Maybe.
Mizzurna Falls is the game that a lot of people point to and go, oh, this is the game that tried to be the Twin Peaks video game before Deadly Premonition did it. All the way back in the PS1. Mizzurna Falls is a game that takes place in Colorado, or as the signs in the game like to call it, Corolado.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this was an untranslated game made by Human Entertainment, which you may know as doing the Twilight Syndrome, Moonlight Syndrome games. It's where Suda got his start. I believe it's also where Swery got his start, maybe. Human Entertainment made a bunch of very experimental games in like the 16-bit era, moving on to like the PS1 era. Probably best remembered, I'd say, for the Clock Tower series. They're the ones that did that. Mm-hmm. Which you may remember, I played Clock Tower for Halloween just a few months back, so I was still kind of in that mood. And Mizzurna Falls is a game that's interested me even before it was translated. Very interesting story going on there, where it was kind of discovered and became this cult, like, PS1 game that people were like, the PS1 is more experimental than people gave it credit for, and so much of that experimental work is just locked away behind the Japanese language, because the stuff that got brought over to the West obviously was the more commercially viable stuff. And there was, for the longest time, you could play this game like the script was translated and you had to do the old school style thing where you would play through it and then just have like a notepad document up or whatever with the script, and you'd make your way through the game that way. I never had the heart to do that. The last time I did that was like when Mother 3 was still getting translated, and honestly, I powered through it because I was young and had a lot of free time. I don't have the stomach for that anymore. But thankfully, in recent years, a fan translation has come out for it. Unfortunately, a little bit buggy. It's even recommended in the README, like you want to have your rewind hotkey mapped in whatever emulator you're using, because sometimes you'll be driving your car around and parts of the world will just fail to load, and you'll get stuck in like an empty void. So that's a little frustrating, but, I take a flawed and kind of buggy patch that you can mostly play over nothing at all. So Mizzurna Falls is a game about a young boy named Matthew. He's like high school age, and he receives news on I think it's actually the day after, it's either Christmas or the day after Christmas, receives news that one of his friends, Kathy, has been found dead in the woods. And then his other friend, Emma, who was with her, is missing. You have 7 days to figure out where the hell Emma is and what the hell happened with Kathy's death. And kind of like something like Majora's Mask, you walk around an open environment and you have to keep track of the schedule of a shit ton of different NPCs in the world who will all go out and do different things throughout the town on the 7 days that you have to work with. And over the course of multiple runs, you need to piece together the mystery. There are apparently 3 endings in the game. I've played through and gotten the first ending, which is you didn't figure out jack shit. And you just completely fail to, solve anything. There's apparently a second ending where you kind of sort of solve the mystery and have some of the information, but you don't quite have enough to, like, completely succeed. And then there's, like, a good perfect ending you get after you, like, complete the, like, perfect run sort of thing, after you piece all the information together. This all sounds fine and good and, like, the setup for a really cool, like, narrative-driven game. The problem is that, goddamn, is this a game made on a budget, and also, it is a game that really was ahead of its time in ways that are both impressive but also kind of frustrating. You would hope in a game like this, if you start to fail, like, right off the bat, you kind of would understand where you went wrong and can make adjustments later on in future runs. Not really the case. The game also fails to consider a lot of variables. I know from the opening cutscene, because it's like, like a lot of games of the time, it's a montage of cutscenes from the actual game. I know at some point during this 7-day period, your main character can get attacked by a bear. What I did not expect is that there are cutscenes towards the second half of the week where characters will be like, "Yeah, watch out for bears," or "Oh, we don't need you getting into any bear situations again." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I have not seen a bear this entire week." There's also like weird stuff. Like there was a point on like day 3 where I went to the missing like childhood friend's house. And you can do that and talk to her mom, and she's like, "Oh yeah, just like go investigate her room, see if you can find any clues." And at the end of that, she just really heartfelt is like, I'm so sorry I snapped at you." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Apparently, on the first day, there's a cutscene you can get where you visit her, and she's upset, obviously, that her daughter is missing, and she kind of snaps at the main character. But for the rest of the playthrough, they act like that cutscene has happened, and it clearly has not. And there's just a lot of, like, you really need to be in the right place at the right time to find clues and really figure out where you need to go and what you need to do. And 7 days is a long time to do that, because I'd say from, like, 12 to 6 is the only time in the game that, like, basically nothing happens. From like 7 all the way to like 11 p.m., like 7 in the morning, 11 p.m. at night, people are out in town doing shit. And like, sometimes you'll just be stumbling onto people And it's like, oh, why are you over here? What are you trying to do? Or, oh, you went somewhere I didn't expect you to, and you just kind of need to write a little note of it and maybe figure it out on another run. And it's known for being frustrating. What a lot of people recommend you do is you play through once or twice to see what you can discover naturally, and then you just use a guide and then just play through the rest of it. But I did find a Tumblr post from someone who was a little bit frustrated by that, and even kind of frustrated. It seemed like that even the people involved with the fan translation themselves are kind of like, yeah, it's not all that really fun to play, maybe just use a guide sort of thing. Like, even I think the main Game FAQs guide you can find, I think, is from the person who did the translation. And, like, even recommends herself, like, yeah, maybe give it a few goes, but as soon as you get frustrated, just play through with the guide. But I found a Tumblr post from someone who did solve the mystery on their own, and they were like, it's super rewarding. It's a shit ton of hard work, but when you actually do it for yourself, it feels unlike anything else that you'll ever get out of, like, a video game mystery because of the commitment. And I'm kind of sold on the idea I want to be I want to be that type of person.
Oh, you want to be the guy.
Yeah. So I'm going to see if I can brute force my way through it. I'm gonna start keeping a journal with names of all the NPCs and start filling out schedules of, oh, hey, you're here at 7 p.m. on Wednesday? Okay, well, that's going in the fucking notebook. And I'm gonna see if I can do it.
All right. Good luck.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need to go finish Shenmue at some point.
Yeah. The only other thing I have is my friend Trick started playing Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising because the gacha character that he really likes is on the free rotation. And I was like, oh, I bought that game and never played it. Let's fuck around in that. And I've been playing Nier, who is a sad girl who
different game.
Yeah. It's spelled the same too, which really fucks me up. But it also has been complicated by the fact that 2B is in fact coming to that game as a guest character. So now we can have Nier versus 2B, but not the Nier you're thinking of when I say that statement.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's like a fox girl with a death tarot card that summons a puppet of death. And she's busted as hell. She's top tier, and I'm having a great time.
Always pick
Nice.
the top tier.
Yeah. Listen, most of the time, I don't think puppets are top tier. But, I'll take what I can get. I've become a fully puppet guy in the past
I
year.
noticed.
So are you gonna be
Yeah.
are you gonna be a Zato person?
In Plus R, I think I am, but for Xrd, whenever I dive more into that, and I mean Strive, I've always been Ram, and I'm planning on sticking with Ram. I think she's fun. But I think Xrd, I'm gonna do Ram as well. I like Ram a lot in Gear. She's fun.
All right.
That's all I've had.
Sick. Mel, what you up to?
Haven't been up to too much new or completed. More just picking away at things. I did go through the book Foundation by Isaac Asimov, which is short.
Oh, yeah.
And a collection of short stories. And it is a bit goofy, to be honest. Like, it is, oh yeah, it's a classic sci-fi book, but also it is like, oh, here's like a science fiction guy thinking too hard about the Roman Empire, like, oh, what if you did the Roman Empire collapsing in space? And all the assumptions about, like, this foundation's like, oh, we gotta save human civilization by not having the empire collapse with our secret foundation. And
Naturally.
the plan using psychomath or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of goofy. I think it's like influential, and it is enjoyable and quick enough to read, more or less. I'm not super like, I don't know if I'll read any others. And it is silly, but it exists. They got the TV show.
The only Asimov I've ever read is The Last Question, and I like that short story a lot, and I always meant to check out his other stuff, but never quite can get like excited enough to do it.
Yeah, a lot of it, it's a bit goofy because it's like, the idea is like, oh, we predict scientifically how empires rise and fall and come up with plans to shift history with math.
Are you sure you're talking about Asimov or Marx?
But the problem is that a lot of it boils down to one cool guy shows up at one point in history and destroys everyone with facts and logic and shifts everything with his own how cool he is, which is not how that works.
Actually, it's Lenin.
Yeah,
That's great man theory, but for communists. That sounds normal and probably fine. Probably
yeah.
won't overemphasize any like bad things. Won't produce any bad results.
Yeah. Great Man Theory has never backfired for anyone.
Never. All right. Cool. Well, if that
I have one more thing.
Oh, you have one more thing. Go ahead.
What the fuck is that big bird?
What the fuck is that big bird? Let's talk about that big bird. I say, as I throw over to someone who had time to write summaries this week.
Yeah, Red came to us crying. Said,
yes, weeping.
I can't do the summaries this week.
Yep, that's me.
Sniffing like an IKEA kaiju.
Yeah. And then they were like, you did such a good job drawing that Ultra 7 8 Crazy Nights thing. Surely you can write as good as you draw.
No, this is slander now at this point. I'll see you in court.
I do like how that picture made sure to include alien cool somehow. If you squint really hard, you can identify it.
Yeah, so I took a crack at the summarizing. This may be more of a synopsis than a summary. As we compared word counts.
We will interrupt and chime in. We will make something out of it.
Yeah, now you get to experience what it's like.
So are you just because this is a two-parter? Are we just gonna do it all in one go like last week, or do you want to break it split up?
I think we can play it by ear, but I feel like these run together pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Especially because the fights get interrupted halfway through.
Yeah. So episode 16 of Return of Ultraman is called The Mystery of Big Bird Monster, Pterochilus. Out on the open water in the darkness of night, a group of young people are partying on a yacht. One woman, Yukiko, expresses surprise as midsummer snow starts to fall. As the partygoers continue to mingle and dance, a mysterious scuba diver plants a ticking device on the side of the vessel. Suddenly, a bird-like kaiju emerges from the depths and flies over the boat, throwing the partygoers overboard. The diver watches.
I'm going to tell you,
yeah?
I figured this device was summoning the kaiju.
Oh.
Was what I assumed initially. I was like, oh, he summoned the kaiju. No,
it's actually more unhinged.
The diver watches as the boat explodes, and is kind of a sicko about it. Shortly after, a shady-looking man, who we can assume is the diver, is driving with sunglasses on at night, and then crashes into a police roadblock and is quickly apprehended. The narrator tells us that his name is Saburo Matsumoto, and that he has confessed to the crime of blowing up the boat. Yep. The next day at Matt, Go receives a call from Aki, who reveals that she's friends with Yukiko, and that she wants to speak to Matt about the monster she witnessed prior to the bombing. The three meet, but Go expresses doubt towards the survivors' claims, as the case seems pretty open and shut from a legal standpoint. Aki reveals that Yukiko and Saburo are childhood friends, which may explain her defensiveness of him, despite Yukiko's claims that she's really only interested in reporting the monster that she saw. Yukiko's extremely normal fiancé, Yokokawa,
normal guy,
a man who's set to inherit a large company from I didn't write it down here, but I think it's YM Industries is the name of his father's company. Mm-hmm. Shows up and states he believes that Saburo did it because he's been furious ever since their engagement announcement. The two leave and go.
He's not wrong. To be fair.
Yeah, quickly proven extremely not wrong. The two leave, and Go heads out to investigate further. He first goes to the docks, where he too experiences the midsummer snow. He then interrogates an extremely sweaty and shiny Saburo, confronting him about the fact his bomb should not have been strong enough to destroy the entire yacht. Yacht? Holy shit. Yacht. However, Saburo is offended by this, as he spent a whole month working on it.
Oh, for 1 month?
Go asks Saburo if he truly hates Yukiko enough to kill her, and he confirms that he does, that she hates him because he wasn't handsome enough, and that they promised to marry one another when they were kids.
Oh, we've got incel Ultraman episodes.
We do.
Oh, man.
This man says femoid. Like, it's bad. It's rough out here.
I took a sip of my drink at the wrong time.
Go accidentally reveals to Saburo that he failed to kill Yukiko and Yokokawa, which upsets him. At this point, Saburo seems to come to a realization and frantically tells Go that he is indeed not guilty and that a monster similar to the one Yukiko described blew up the yacht. Like, he gives the same exact description that Yukiko did, despite not having heard the description from Yukiko.
Mm-hmm.
Go reconvenes with Yukiko after receiving this information, but Yokokawa stops them before they can leave on a boat, stating that there's no point as the case is now closed. Go and Yokokawa argue whether or not it's worth defending a man who is facing the death penalty, leaving Yukiko torn between investigating the truth of the matter or leaving the incident in the past. Go begins to sail off, causing Yukiko to chase after him so that she can join in on the investigation, much to Yokokawa's chagrin. She starts to swim after Go's boat, which is emitting some strange red exhaust fumes. This bizarre gas damages Yukiko's eyes, causing Go to pull her aboard, and then all three of them go to seek out medical assistance for her.
Damn, she's got some kind of physical impairment. I wonder how this story will end in Return of Ultraman.
I wonder who directed this.
Oh no!
Elsewhere, the bird kaiju crashes into a passenger plane. Matt investigates the wreck. Upon hearing the recording of the pilot saying, "It's a bird," before screaming bloody murder as everyone on board dies, the team decides it's probably related to the thing Go is working on.
This is one of the I just have to say this is one of the funniest scenes in the episodes because the Matt is so artfully just shot. It just feels like it's the blocking is so perfect in this scene with them all listening into the device, and it cuts to the device and it goes, "A bird? Ah!" and then cuts back to them again from another angle, again perfectly. Just is incredible.
It gets better. Kishida, ever the genius, asks Go, if that bird attacked the plane, how is it similar to the yacht case? Go, also a genius, responds, "It's that both incidents happened at night." Personally, I would argue it's because both involve a giant bird, but I don't know what I'm talking about. So, Go speculates that the bird is nocturnal and sensitive to noise, and it attacked the yacht because of the loud music the partygoers were playing, and obviously it attacked the plane because planes are just fucking loud by nature.
Go loves to make shit up.
He really does carry on the spirit of the
He's not the kaiju encyclopedia like Dan is.
This is true. He just has superpower of I make shit up and it turns out to be true. He's got Inland Empire.
Yeah, he does. Go gets a phone call and exclaims that Saburo Matsumoto has escaped confinement. Go and Aki head to Yukiko's hospital room. Go to tell her that his investigation is almost complete and Aki to give her flowers. Yukiko is afraid that Saburo is coming to kill her, but Go reassures her that she's under heavy police protection, so she'll be fine. Yukiko begs Go not to leave her, telling him that the other day on the beach she chose him over her fiancé, and she wants to stay together forever. Go is not having any of this. Yokokawa keeps Aki from entering the room with the flowers and complains about Go and his fiancé getting maybe a little too close, and then tells Aki that she should keep her boyfriend on a tighter leash. Back at Matt, Captain Kato tells Go that he's received a call from the president of YM Industries complaining about the exact same thing and tells him to stick to Matt's jurisdiction, which is the monstrous bird. Minami and Ueno go out on patrol. The bird flies over Tokyo, shooting webs out of its beak and covering the city's buildings in them. 2 fighter jets attempt to shoot the bird down, but despite landing direct hits, the bird just turns around and crashes right into the planes, causing everyone on board to die. In the morning, Jiro is brushing his teeth and notices that it's snowing despite being summer. He looks outside to see a block of the city is covered in the bird's strange webbing, which is shedding and causing the snow-like debris to fall onto the city. He rushes to warn Go. The team realizes that the bird must be trying to make some sort of nest. As rush hour hits, the snowy white particles transform into the same red toxic gas that hurt Yukiko's eyes in the boat scene. The team realizes that when the webbing mixes with exhaust fumes, it becomes dangerous. I want to stop here and say I actually really like this detail, that it's not actually necessarily the bird itself causing the toxic fumes. It's the fact that it's the bird's material combining with the sins of man and our,
I see, yes.
our pollution is causing the problem. I thought that was a good little touch that made this just a little bit more interesting for me personally. Elsewhere, Aki and Jiro are playing in the snow while Ken fixes up a car. Go rushes in to tell Ken not to start any engines and for Aki and Jiro to get somewhere safe. Aki, frustrated that Go has been so busy with work, asks why he even cares, and Go slaps her in response.
To be clear, and it is to be damning to the writer, it's because she thinks that Go is flirting with the other girl and not her.
Yeah.
Just hits her out of nowhere. I'm like, Go.
Yeah.
Go.
Go, the misogynist.
Yeah. Classic Go.
The tense scene is interrupted by a phone call from Yukiko, who wants Go to know that the snow smells of sulfur, and that the scent is the same as when she climbed Mount Io when she was young. Go hires a boatman to take him to Aku Island so that he can see the volcanic crater that's serving as the source of the sulfurous snow.
Yeah, because Ken tells him, "Oh, hey, volcanoes," and it goes like, "Oh, volcanoes."
There's a really good bit here where the boat guy is complaining that he can't use the engine. He's like, I can't remember the last time I had to fucking row my boat. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's really good. Go climbs the mountain, finding the bird kaiju, Pterochilus, has taken up residence inside the crater and is shooting out continuous streams of the sulfurous snow webbing. Go reports his findings via radio, and Matt bombards the crater. Go almost falls to his death, but transforms into Ultraman just in time to save his comrades from being dive-bombed by the kaiju. Ultraman struggles to wrestle with the proficient flyer on the ground, so he too takes to the skies and grapples with it up there. The episode ends as the two lock arms in combat, with the narrator asking what will happen next time. Do we want to go just right into the next one?
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't really have anything else to say about this one.
Yeah.
Go and Pterochilus continue to fight in the skies until Pterochilus shoots out a beam that hits Ultraman right in the eyes, causing him to spiral down into the sea below. Back on the island, Minami and Kishida search for Go. They find him in the water, walking back to shore. Back at Mad HQ, the captain admits that maybe trying to fight a giant bird in the sky is a bad idea, especially at the speed that it's able to fly at.
This is so funny. He just says it so seriously, but I just had to stop and just laugh at it.
Yeah, it honestly, it caught me too. It was really funny. Kishida has a big encyclopedia and reveals that the bird's name is Pterochilus, which has only been stated by the narrator up into this point. This is when the name actually comes up in the fiction itself.
But don't forget, most people haven't seen kaiju.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow.
True. According to an old book, it's a giant flying lizard that lived with pteranodons during the Cretaceous period. Oka brings up a good point. If the monstrous bird has a nest in the volcanic crater located on the island, why did it make the massive web of snow over a block of Tokyo buildings, which everyone has now seemingly decided is called Silver Castle? The captain tasks Ueno and Go with researching the island's seismic history at the Earthquake Research Division, while Minami tells the captain about a heatwave artillery plan he's coming up with that will allow the team to burn away the Silver Castle without erupting the entire thing into a cloud of toxic gas that will, cause problems in the city. Elsewhere, Saburo lurks about on a busy street, planning revenge on Yukiko and Yokokawa.
Oh yeah, he got away, by the way.
Yeah.
But
At
that
the
was
earthquake.
stupid.
Yeah. At the Earthquake Research Division, Go and Ueno learned that seismic activity at Aku Island has increased recently, suggesting that the volcano there is about to erupt. Sensing this, the Pterochilus must have decided it's time to abandon its old nest and take up residence somewhere else, like Tokyo. But why Tokyo, especially if it hates noise? The scientist suggests that Tokyo and the volcanic crater may be more alike as habitats than the two think, as the city's average temperature has been rising year after year. And I was like, oh damn, we getting into some global warming shit right now. Maybe not as hot as volcanic crater yet, but I like where their head's at, I guess. As Matt uses one of their gyrocopters to transport the heat wave artillery vehicle, pardon me, gotta get the order right there. Saburo Shadow the Hedgehog's his way to the hospital, rushing past the security detail on a motorcycle.
Yep.
They eventually stop him. Oh, were you gonna say something?
No, I just said yep.
Yeah.
He
He
motorcycles are
takes
in this year.
True. He takes off his jacket, revealing that he's strapped a belt of dynamite to his torso. Where the fuck is this guy getting all this dynamite?
The Dynamite Factory.
True. You know what? There's one in town. You're a genius.
This guy fucking Wile E. Coyote.
Honestly, he kind of is.
His
After
Roadrunner is
revealing-
women.
Not to be confused with the actual bird in this episode.
Hot Fuzz voice. It's just the one woman, actually. After revealing this to the man holding him at gunpoint, he grabs the handgun from the guy. The guy really did not put up a fight. And then asks to be taken into the hospital. As he enters the room, Yukiko, still blinded, asks if it is Go who has returned. Saburo kidnaps Yukiko, takes her to Yokokawa's summer home, or plans on taking her to Yokokawa's summer home, I should say. And she starts to resist, so he slaps her.
Yep.
The police give chase.
This is the signifier of true love in this episode.
Apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. The police give...
You know what? We'll talk about it.
Yeah. The police give chase, and Yukiko hangs on for dear life as Saburo speeds his way through the streets on his motorcycle. Oka uses the gyrocopter to place the heat wave artillery on top of a building near the Silver Castle. Saburo shows up and dismounts his bike with Yukiko in hand. As Matt and the police surround him, Saburo uses his motorcycle's exhaust to kick up red fumes, forcing the crowd to back off. I actually thought this was kind of a cool touch. Saburo forces Yukiko inside the building, and the team is forced to delay the burning of the nest until the situation is dealt with. They choose to wait until nightfall to take action. Unfortunately, as the sun begins to set, Pterochilus once again appears, destroying more fighter planes above, and the captain begs Saburo to just please fucking surrender. There's a giant bird outside, everyone wants to go home. And he informs him that Pterochilus is heading towards the Silver Castle. Saburo thinks that this is all just bullshit, and he refuses to abandon his position. As the kaiju hovers threateningly overhead, Matt attempts to shoot it, but their small arms have no real impact on it. Inside the Silver Castle, Yukiko begs Saburo to take her back, saying that she'll vouch for his innocence, and that the giant bird's presence is further proof that he didn't destroy the yacht, and that he's innocent.
Now,
Saburo rebuffs her. Yeah?
He did. Now, the yacht did explode. The bomb did.
Yes.
Attempted murder is failed murder. He did attempt to kill you.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, where I was like, first of all, also too, I feel like if, due to extreme circumstances, people go overboard, they're gonna naturally want to go back to the boat they fell off of. If, say, someone blew up that boat, leaving them in the water, I think that also counts. I think that counts as murder. just throw that out there. Okay. Saburo rebuffs her, saying that the only thing he believes in is his dynamite. He is Wile E. Coyote. As the military shows up, Matt prevents them from attacking, stating that the creature is nocturnal, and if it goes wild now, there's no telling what could happen. I love this idea of nocturnal creatures of just, if it's night, they're more powerful or more wild.
Yes.
This is very funny how they, I get what they mean. They're like, this is when it's active, and it's already been a problem for us, but, they talk about the nocturnal thing like it gets a +5 buff to its stats at nighttime. It's really funny.
Go fight an owl at night, and it's like a data organization fight.
It will kick your ass. Did I ever tell? I cannot get into the story right now. There was an owl who was my sworn enemy back at the old place I lived at. That lived in a creek.
Okay,
near
we have
my
to get
house.
into this at some point.
Yes. Fuck it, I'll get into it now. There was an owl that my old house, I lived nearish to a heavily wooded creek. And there was an owl that had taken up residence there. I could see its nest from my window in the daytime. And let me tell you, owls hoot fucking loud. And I lost plenty of sleep from that thing over the course of multiple years of my life. To be fair, it could have been different owls, but I think it was the same owl. At least I like to imagine so, because that way I have a rival I can focus my hatred towards.
Oh, so this owl is your Pegula.
Yeah,
Except it doesn't have gravity breath, so you're just not as cool as Jen.
Yeah, and I wouldn't fight an owl. I'd feel like an asshole, but I do wish it moved somewhere else. But yeah, where the fuck was I? Okay, so, instead, Matt encourages the military to spend the evening evacuating those living nearby, which honestly, yeah, better idea. Matt intends to attack Pterochilus in the morning as it sleeps. Go helps Ken, Aki, and Jiro evacuate, apologizing to Aki for hitting her earlier. Aki makes Go promise that he'll bring Yukiko back safely, and Go agrees. Then, Go stands directly behind the car and waves off his friends as they drive off, despite everyone and everything in the scene being covered in the snow that turns into poison gas when exposed to cars' exhaust fumes. Don't worry about it, I guess, because nothing happens.
Did this scene bother you? Just a little.
I mean, I did think it was really funny, but I'm more bothered about it's okay, you slap me in the face, it's fine, it's, relationship stuff. No. I did think the fumes thing was funny. I picked up on that right away. I'm like, what? Hold on. Don't stand right behind the exhaust. You're going to be blinded. Meanwhile, Yokokawa shows up in front of the Silver Castle and decides to give every goddamn person in the scene a piece of his fucking mind. He yells at everyone for not apprehending Saburo, and he yells at Matt for not being able to kill Pterochilus yet, and then he points directly at Go and tells him that this is just basically all his fault. Mm-hmm. Saburo, hearing his sworn enemy's voice outside, emerges on a balcony with Yukiko in his grasp and a gun in his other hand. He tells Yokokawa that if he wants to see her returned, he should come face him inside the Silver Castle. The chief of police tells Yokokawa that the only way Yukiko can be safely returned is if the two of them together go in. But Yokokawa hesitates. Go also attempts to convince Yokokawa to rescue his fiancée, but Yokokawa panics, stating that he doesn't intend to return her at all, and that as soon as he enters the Silver Castle, Saburo is just going to kill him. He decides to flee the scene, as everyone looks on like, oh, come on, bro.
Now, there's a lot in these episodes that's stupid and bad, but I do like this little bit where he is confronting the idea of going in there, and you can see the gears turning in his head and him reaching that justification and the little relief on his face where he's like, oh, thank God, this makes some sense. I was like, I don't have to do this now. I don't have to do this now because this justification is actually perfect. It's like, well, he's not going to let her go. And I just think this is like a really good moment of writing a terrible shithead.
Yeah.
Just wanted that noted.
As he flees the scene, Saburo taunts Yukiko and tells her that this is the sort of cowardly man she has chosen to marry instead of him. Inside the Silver Castle, Saburo and Yukiko reminisce over their childhood, flashing back to a New Year's festival, where the two were accosted by Namahage, which is, I guess, a thing where men in the community dress up as Oni and then kind of, like, go around and cheekily,
kids.
like, accost kids. Yeah. Especially if they've been naughty or, like, accuse them of being naughty and, you know, kind of scare them straight as just, like, a fun little cultural, like, festivity thing. Never knew about this before, but it seems like kind of a fun thing.
Potentially traumatizing.
Yes. This caused Saburo to cry and ask Yukiko to save him. Back in the present, Saburo admits that he was scared to death at the time, but he was impressed by Yukiko's courage. Yukiko retorts that even though she's usually a coward, she doesn't get scared when a truly serious situation comes around. The two's trip down memory lane is interrupted by the captain speaking over a megaphone, informing Saburo that Matt will begin their attack regardless on Silver Castle in 30 minutes, and their safety cannot be guaranteed if they choose to stay inside. Saburo tells Yukiko that she should just leave, but she refuses, wanting to be with Saburo to join him in death. The two embrace, and Yukiko asks to see Saburo's face. He unwraps her eye bandages, and they stare face to face. Saburo tells her that he's going to turn himself in, so that both their lives can be saved. As Saburo walks out to the balcony to be, kind of normal for once in his goddamn life, and declares his intention to surrender, a couple of the military men immediately go, okay, now's our chance, and decide to shoot at him. One stray shot manages to hurt him. Pterochilus is still around, though, and is seemingly enraged by the loud report of the rifles, and begins to thrash about and then take flight, nearly killing Saburo and Yukiko. Seeing an opportunity, Saburo throws the dynamite at Pterochilus, causing it to stumble and nearly demolish the entire building. I had kind of forgotten about the dynamite at this point, I'm not gonna lie.
They shot him while he had dynamite on him.
He just throws it.
The SDF in this show is the worst they've ever been, even compared to history. Like, this show is out for the SDF.
It is. It honestly is.
And they're not. Do they count as the JSDF in this scenario? Because I know it's post-war Japan, but is it still a unified Earth?
I don't know.
Because I don't think they call them the JSDF.
Yeah,
probably not. I don't even really think they call them a name. I think they just say the military.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the thing that like the TOF, I think, whatever, is what they're like under Matt is, but I don't think this is them.
But yeah,
no, like I was under the impression that this was like
this is just
a step above the authorities, like coming in with like military grade weaponry.
But anyway, these soldiers taking shots at this guy who, as far as they know, has dynamite on his body. As he's coming out to say, "All right, you know what, I give up," is so funny.
Oh, the TDA is the group.
The TDA.
That's
the
like
Terrestrial Defense
Alliance. Agency.
But yeah, I just assume this is the SDF, but
Agency does sound more sinister. I like that.
I suppose the TDF in Ultra 7 just changed it one word.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, Go transforms into Ultraman, and the two do battle once more. After a bit of scuffling on the ground, the two take to the skies once again, despite the captain's, prior comments. However, it works out. Ultraman grabs Pterochilus by the feet and then spins around really fast, and then causes it to crash hard onto the Tokyo pavement below. Back at Silver Castle, Yukiko rushes over to a severely injured Saburo who is bleeding profusely from his mouth. Saburo confesses his love to Yukiko, then dies in her arms. The captain orders the heatwave artillery to be fired as the crew looks on in melancholy. Later, at Saburo's grave, Yukiko tells Go and Aki that she's going to start over and be strong in memory of Saburo. After she leaves, Aki tells Go that she's going to start over as well, and then Go goes, "Wait, what do you mean by that?" and then chases after her, wondering if he just got broken up with. The episode closes with the two walking side by side, playfully jabbing at each other.
I don't think he was wondering this, because I don't think they're actually dating in his mind. I feel like that's just the one thing that's been consistent so far, is that like
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know, and that's like part of the frustration and misunderstanding And he's like, oh yeah, I'm just committed to the job.
I'm not hitting my girlfriend. I'm hitting a woman. That makes it better. That's
He's just hitting
fine.
a girl who is also his friend.
Yes, that's so Yukiko, I'm gonna be real, Saburo was not worth that.
No.
Your fiance is a shitbag, neglectful asshole, but your childhood friend did bomb a boat and strap dynamite and also slapped you.
Yeah.
Also, the little like minute there where they're like, oh, she's also falling in love with Go, just to make it look like any man who's semi-nice to her, she just immediately falls head over heels with, I thought was a fucking choice. And that made me mad too.
It is kind of goofy how, like, the fiance was telling Aki, oh, don't let keep your boyfriend on a short leash.
Yeah.
And then immediately after, he kind of being like, hey, the higher brass was going to complain about the same thing.
This is because last week we had kidnapping kids. This is another week where this could be more normal.
Well, you know what that episode had in common with these two episodes? Directed by Eizo Yabagiwa.
Who we know from history is not normal.
Written by Shozo Uehara, both of these as well.
Also
Okay.
not normal.
No. I feel like also getting weirder. He started weird, he's getting weirder.
Did Uehara break up with someone? Anyway, this could be a perfectly normal. Like him, in a way, this could be perfectly normal in a way that is an indictment of culture, right? This could be a much more normal, the spurned guy kidnaps her and, it turns out that they still have feelings for each anyway.
I will say, in the second half of this two-parter, when it's like, oh, we have to assault the nest of the kaiju, oh fuck, we now also have to deal with this crazy dude's, like, hostage situation bullshit. And on top of that, I was like, this is really interesting for this to go down like this.
Yeah, there's
and then it's steeped in the worst relationship shit ever.
Yeah, it's like the actual romance stuff is awful, and like everything else is more interesting. Like I like in the first episode, I like the investigation aspect and like uncovering the mystery. Like that stuff was cool. But like actually, the person who is physically abusive to you is better than the person who's emotionally abusive to you is the true love, because one of those is more intimate, I guess. It's pretty fucked.
This could also have been a kind of... This could have been a thing where this guy Saburo has, like, some kind of... he's, like... he's got a charisma to him. If he could be like a disaster human being, but is like charming and just nice and is like an attractive guy, and it could be this kind of like sort of like the ways that people fall for guys who are shit. It happens in real life.
You're saying he could have more charisma and give you more of a reason to believe that she feels about him that way, but instead they depict him as the most abrasive and off-putting asshole from minute one.
Yes,
and also for whatever reason, Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the thing is, you could, if you did it that way, you could lean into this ending where it's like, well, yeah, this was gonna fucking happen to him. He was fucking, he was on one.
Instead, it feels like the ending feels a bit like the all too common way of like making moral dilemmas of characters easy by having them die.
Yes. Yes.
Because like, hey,
It's like a way shittier version of that fucking... Remember that Ultra 7 episode where that one guy shows up just to die before shooting Sands?
Yes.
yeah. He's like, Aoki, you must stay alive and atone for this.
Oh, that guy
no,
sucked
actually.
so much. He was great. He was the worst person in the world. He ruled. Put him in this episode. That's what this episode needs.
Yeah.
Is this guy to be like
Don't worry.
incredibly
We'll have
dynamic
Ultra
center
7
of attention.
characters. Don't worry.
Oh yes, we'll have
Ultra
Ultra 7 characters later in this podcast.
Also, can you repeat yourself? I was accidentally talking over you.
Oh, what was that? Sorry.
Or can you just repeat yourself? I was accidentally talking over you.
Oh, having that guy, that Aoki, having basically an equivalent to him is how I'd do this. Is like this incredible, like this weird, terrible dude who is like the center of attention at all times, and it being like the woman, she's like, well, cut him off because she got burned before, and now he's back, and it's like a whole thing. But the thing that stops you from being able to do any of this anything fun with this relationship really is that it starts with he attempts to explode. He attempts to blow up the boat that she's on. He tries to just fucking murder her out the gate.
Like, you can't plead innocence. Like, he didn't. Even if you say, "Oh, he didn't kill anyone," he still bombed the fucking boat.
He's like, "Yeah, I killed them, and they deserved it." Oh, you didn't kill them. He's like, "Oh, now I have to think about it."
Unhinged.
And like, it's not even like, it's not even sexy murder. It's blowing up a boat. It's not even Otome, hot guy wants to kill me type stuff. It's just loser tries to blow up your boat. Fails.
Call of Duty level 3.
Call of Duty level 3.
Hold F to place the charge.
He didn't do it fast enough.
No, bird. He got the bird game over.
I have an idea for a shit post this episode now, where I just like put the intro of the episode over with like the music from the intro for the MGS1 cutscene.
Yes, there we go. Excellent.
I need to put more video shit posts on the account.
Yeah.
We had a lot more in like the Ultraman season.
Yeah, you retweeted a lot of like good stuff today.
Yeah.
The friends one is fantastic.
It's still probably my best of the ones. Mm-hmm. But I do like the Aoki on Sans one.
So the rest of this episode, outside of these three, I guess, is investigate. Well, I guess we haven't properly. Go hits Aki just out of nowhere again. Go's method of communicating with people is now hitting them. Classic.
Yeah. I also don't like Aki's characterization either. Mm-hmm. Where she's like, "Oh, why do you care? Because you hit on the girl," and she's like, it feels like she's written too fixatedly on like the love interesting to the point of disregarding actual things.
Yeah, the jealousy is you're not cooking anything.
Yeah, it's like you either don't write a girl like Oka or you write her badly like Aki.
Something that really fucking bothered me about this is like, I've watched a lot of old shit. Like I am used to some degree of, sometimes women are just going to be slapped, and like unfortunately this is like, a thing that shows up time and time again in this like older stories or whatever and stuff, like film and TV and all that. The thing that really bothered me about this one is that like he slaps her, she goes to take that call, and like for the rest of the scene you can see like tears welling in her eyes, like showing that like this actively bothered her a lot, which like I feel like in a lot of older things you don't get. Like it just kind of happens and then everyone moves on, which is, you know, unhinged and not normal. But like they take the time to acknowledge the pain this has caused her on like a deep emotional level. Like she's about to cry, and then later on the next scene she's like, oh, you're sorry about it? Thanks, we're gonna evacuate now. And it's like, oh, we're back to being fine. And it's just like, no, what the fuck is going on? It really upset me.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, she just realized it was probably her fault.
God.
And for being jealous. And then she's like, you go help Yukiko, and that's the arc resolved.
Yeah.
And it was her problem.
It's wild. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
Question: did this episode need to be 2 episodes?
Probably not.
No.
Hang on. There is a lot happening. There is a lot happening. Some of it feels maybe extreme, but you know what? I think 2's fine for this episode, because I do think, you know, there's something here. It needs work, but
yeah, I mean, now that I'm looking at
the love triangle here could have worked out all right, I think.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at the summaries, just there's a lot of threads to juggle. I think the 2-parter makes sense.
We've had a lot of 2-parters.
I wasn't expecting a 2-parter this close off the back of the last one.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like next episode could have been a 2-parter.
I mean,
hey, well, guess what?
Maybe it would have been if there wasn't someone around to help.
Yeah. I'm just curious actually now. Okay, I'm just gonna do a quick comparison of. Yeah. So the summary for our last episode is half the length of the last summary I just read for all of you. Episode 18 is called "Here Comes Ultra 7."
Here he comes.
This is what Cydrixer was referring to when he emailed us and telling us, maybe just don't look at the title. Maybe just don't look at the title of the episode. Now I just want to let's do a quick check-in right now. Who here saw the title?
Well, I did. Also, I knew it was happening, so.
YouTube recommended the episode to me.
No.
So, you know.
I saw it because I watched the next time on, because I like the next time on. And I get that it's like supposed to, the thing is, it's not supposed. The thing is, it could have been like, oh, cool surprise. But also that's not, these shows are these shows. You watch next time. Ooh, next time on Gundam 0079. This character is gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
So you better tune in to watch it.
Yeah, that's how it is. So I was, I think, we all saw the title. But that's kind of true to the experience of how it was watched back in the day.
I will say, I am the most doesn't give a fuck spoilers person that I could probably be in my life. So I'm not too bothered by it. Honestly, I'm trying to be a little bit better about not getting spoiled on stuff just for the sake of this podcast, because I feel like that will lead to probably better discussion and reaction and stuff for me to do. But if I was just going through Ultraman regularly, I probably would have just seen it and not minded, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna happen.
I mean, I also don't mind. It's basically kind of so this is what watching the show was. When the show was airing, was you watch the episode, and then the next time comes on and it says, oh, next week Ultra 7's gonna be here and is gonna help save the day, and you're like, what the fuck, Ultra 7's gonna be here?
And if you didn't catch it when it aired, the next day at lunch, your fucking friends are gonna tell you Ultra 7 showed up to save the day last night,
and you'll never see it for another 10 years until it gets released again or re-aired.
Yep.
Episode 18.
Yeah.
Here comes Ultra 7. Captain Kato talks over the radio with Captain Kaji, who is going to become a father in a month.
Captain Kaji, who is definitely not Captain Kurata under a new name, hiding from The Hague.
When he was for the crimes he's committed against aliens. The captain is talking to him on the radio, and I'm like, oh, this is just like the last captain with Kurata. And then when it cuts to space, and it is the same actor, right?
Yes.
Yes. I was like, oh my god, it's him. It's you.
My man got typecast.
They Ultra 7's revenge. This is what you get. This is what you get for telling me I'm bad at my job. Anyway.
No. Kishida tells Go that the captains were college buddies. Up in space, the space station's power begins to drain, and oxygen is leaking out. This is a real FTL moment. A giant kaiju appears overhead, enveloping the space station, and secreting a weird white liquid out of the main viewport. Wasn't a fan of that. The station's laser beam.
I love the gross mouth. I love it so much.
Yeah, that's on like its belly or something.
Yeah,
too?
it's like it's a fucking squid or something.
Yeah. Where was it? The station's laser beam proves ineffective as the kaiju absorbs the attack. One of the scientists reveals that the kaiju, Bemstar, is responsible for the energy being drained from the generator, and the team calls the ground team for assistance. The outer hull of the space station begins to break apart, leaving the crew trapped inside without oxygen or any chance of escaping back to Earth. At this point in the episode, I was like, oh, the episode's gonna be about getting these guys back down safely. No, I guess they're just fucking dead.
Yeah,
What a way to go. The monster, having its fill, leaves the station behind and descends ominously towards Earth. The captain orders Minami and Ueno to go shoot it down, and then, I guess for some reason on a delay, then also orders Go and Kushida to follow them to provide support. Minami and Ueno go out in the Mat Arrow, while Go and Kushida fly out in two separate Mat Arrow 2 fighters. The Arrow 1 is shot down by the monster's laser blasts, and the Arrow 2s are forced to flee after the monster proves to be too powerful to be shot down. Severely wounded, Minami rests on a hospital bed while the also injured Ueno sits nearby. The captain checks in on them, then has Go drive him out to Kaji's pregnant wife, who is out on a walk. She nearly faints as the captain tells her the news of his apparent demise up in space. Feeling a deep personal hatred for Bemstar, Captain Kato sorties himself, but struggles to locate the monster. Back at base, the captain explains that Bemstar is a space monster from the Crab Nebula, and has been feasting on the dispersed gases left behind after its home exploded almost a century ago.
I bet Kaji destroyed it. Anyway.
Yeah, this was a revenge mission. This is the time, I think, where I paused to grab like a drink or go to the bathroom or something, and I was like, holy, we spent a lot of time this episode already just flying around, achieving nothing. Later that night, at a gas storage facility, Bemstar appears and begins to feast. The local populace...
I like the effects where, like, it slurps from the gas tank and it, like, goes hollow. I think it's a cool effect.
Yeah. It's like a sipping on a juice box. So intentionally, it starts to attack the gas reserves. Or sorry, I need to back up. So the local populace flees in terror. Matt makes their way to the scene, and they go, hey, well, this is easy. This is a good setup for us. They intentionally start to attack the gas reserves, causing explosions that damage the monster. In range, Bemstar shoots a beam at the Arrow 2 piloted by Kishida, causing him to crash. After landing to rescue their fallen comrade, they abandon the operation and return to base. The captain is pissed. The next day, the narrator tells us that Matt is coming up with a new plan to defeat the monster by using the Schmidt optics missile, which is still in its testing phase. At a diner, Go orders a coffee but realizes something is going wrong when the man behind the counter complains that the gas line seems to be broken. The diner is simultaneously rocked by an earthquake and the show's main theme, which starts to play out of
I don't know why they did this.
It's so Go can sprint out to his patrol car and take off. We are now treated to a full 40 seconds of Go driving with a grumpy look on his face while the main theme continues to play. This was really weird. I don't know. Did either of y'all feel weird about this?
Weird about
The tone is off.
It's really off. It's... of all the times to get the main theme drop, it's just like he's driving down a road.
Yeah.
we
get a much better use of the main theme drop later this episode.
Yeah.
But this one kind of undercuts it.
Bemstar is once again attacking a gas refinery. The captain faces the creature in the Arrow 2, but it's obvious he's no match for the giant space bird. Go arrives at the flaming facility, parks the car, and then rushes into action, immediately transforming into Ultraman. The two titans trade blows, but Ultraman is taken aback when his spacium beam is completely absorbed by his enemy. Out of options and dealing with a ticking color timer, our hero flees the Earth and starts to fly directly towards the sun, begging it for more power.
I wonder who did this before.
It's Superman time.
A voice calls out to our hero, telling him that he's a dumbass and that he should turn back, because he is definitely going to burn up if he gets caught in the star's gravity. Ultraman begins to tumble towards the spherical inferno, only to be saved by a familiar silhouette who flies into frame.
Seven.
It's Ultra 7, motherfuckers. The Ultra 7 theme begins to play, and our two heroes talk in some sort of pocket dimension. I guess this is just what happens when two Ultra people talk, because we've seen it, before with like Zofie and Ultraman and stuff.
It's okay. You can say Ultraman. I don't think there are women.
I want to believe, but you might be right.
I don't think they have any.
We'll see. Well, surely at some point. Might not be till the 2000s, but surely at some point.
I can't say shit.
Yeah.
Did the pocket dimension thing when Ultra 7 talked to Ultra 7's boss man, who weirdly still does not have a name?
It was not a pocket dimension.
No, he was just there.
He just kind of hovered above him like the ghost of Christmas Past, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The pocket dimension is the end of Ultraman. Is Ultraman and Zofie.
So Zofie.
And I guess Shin Ultraman, but that's obviously remaking that.
Also, the first episode of Ultraman with a blowjob shot.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. That's what happened in that episode. That's the one thing. Hayata came back in the last episode and was like, I spent the last 40 weeks giving an Ultraman a blowjob.
I would argue that Hayata wasn't the one who came, but anyway.
Wait.
Anyways, our two heroes talk in some sort of pocket dimension. Ultra 7 gives Ultraman a device called the Ultra Bracelet, which will help him defeat Bemstar. Back on Earth,
wow,
Bemstar
it's like a Toku show.
They've invented Tokusatsu once again.
Truly, they have. Back on Earth, Bemstar continues to cause chaos as the captain struggles to even make a scratch with the Arrow 2's weaponry. Bemstar fires off another laser volley, calling the Arrow 2 to start to crash from the sky. Ultraman swoops in and catches the vehicle, allowing the captain to make his escape. Using the Ultra Bracelet, Ultraman summons some sort of cutter weapon that works and looks similarly to Ultra 7's Eye Slugger. Using this new weapon, Ultraman delivers some Nonagase-esque violence as he severs...
Go!
It does amuse me how quickly Ultraman lands and immediately just kills Bemstar. It's
Yeah,
it feels almost very anticlimactic the way it happens. But,
It's Ultraman's like, this beam shit it's not working, and Ultra 7's like, now listen here, kid. I'm gonna tell you about the real shit. I hope you're okay with blood.
Yeah, he completely severs the space bird's arms and his head. And then to end the episode, Go and the captain reunite, and they decide that they should go tell Kaji's widow that they completely fucked up that bird, I guess. And then the episode ends.
You guys didn't do anything. Go did, but
the main thing to take away from this episode is that the Eye Slugger is way cooler than the Spacium Beam.
Oh, I mean, we knew this day one, I feel.
Yeah. Truly, the Spacium Beam is never getting anywhere near to the level of Ultra 7 wrestling that giant bird to the ground and then just, like, with his hands, just cutting its throat.
Incidentally, that kaiju is called, like, Star Bem Gyaron, and I'm wondering where Bem and Star comes from, because that's also the name of this kaiju.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who knows? Probably someone, but not me. So this episode's kind yeah.
I was a little bit upset that we did not get Ultra 7 and Ultraman fighting side by side, and Ultra 7 just shows up to make sure he doesn't accidentally commit suicide by Sun, and then is like, hey, I'm gonna give you a new, listen, you're gonna inherit some cool shit. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
It was cool that he showed up, but I feel like I am poisoned by modern crossovers into what I should expect from this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're just like this, where we go from here. Who knows?
Now, I thought Ultra 7 didn't exist in Return of Ultraman.
Yeah, so that's what I want to ask. Like, were you surprised?
I was surprised when I saw the title was Ultra 7 is coming back. I was like, but that's not the guy. That's not the guy that exists in this one. Surely. I thought that was a different timeline.
How about you, Brad?
So I vaguely knew, I want to say even before I started this podcast, that at some point there is a main Ultra timeline thing, kind of, I guess, that a bunch of shows take place in. I didn't know the specifics. I still don't really know the specifics. So I kind of can see okay, maybe they just at some point decided, yeah, fuck it, all of it happened at the same time. Who gives a shit? But it was cool.
Yeah.
I think it's more interesting to consider the setting now in a roundabout way.
Yeah, somehow. Don't worry about it.
Ultra 7 existing in the far future, but before the 70s in Japan. Unless this Ultra 7 has not gone through everything with Dan yet.
That could be the case. We don't know.
This is a prequel. We're now getting into the stupid thing that Legend of Zelda fans do.
Yes. Listen, that was my adolescence on the internet. This is a return. This is a return to form for me.
How do you account for Return of Ultraman being the Return of Ultraman if, as we saw in the Jamil episode, the original Ultraman takes place in the late 90s? And
do you want my answer for that?
What?
I bet the people making Return of Ultraman either don't remember or don't care about what that gravestone said. They're just going to pretend that it took place when that show was made from here on out.
I think your answer is more on the correct side of things than the alternative.
Is there an alternative?
I don't think there's an alternative.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say one or the other. But,
I hope one day we run into an Ultraman series that is way too concerned with making sense of this, and it's gonna be terrible, and I'm gonna eat it up. It's gonna be so funny.
See, here's the thing. if this was a Western property, I guarantee we would get that. I don't know if Japan cares as much. I'm curious. It would be fun if we got one of those.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
This could be true. You could be right.
I mean, look at how Japan treats Gundam.
This is true.
Yeah.
Apparently finding out that, according to some people on Twitter, the Doan's Island movie isn't actually in the origin timeline, but secretly a secret third thing.
Oh my god, is
what are you
it?
talking about?
No! What the
know.
hell?
I'm never going to
I'm
watch
so
the movie, at least
confused.
until GP gets to it, so, whatever.
That movie's
I haven't.
that movie's the only like origin thing animated that I'm like, it's all right, I guess. It's just a dumb fun time.
I said I was gonna read Origin. I'm gonna read it.
I think it's worth it. I don't think you'll like it.
Oh no,
but I think it's worth it.
I'm not expecting to like it.
The only thing I've seen from Origin is like that one page where it's like Hayata crying about in like a getting cucked way, despite the fact that it's about the fact that he's the one dating Frau Bo. I'm like, Yaz, what the fuck are you doing over there?
Yaz hates Hayato so much.
I would argue that he hates a lot of characters from Gundam.
Yes.
Yaz really likes Char Aznable, but not for the right reasons.
Someone has to sit Yas down in front of motherfucking Turn A Gundam and show him that there is a world out there that is not the 1 year war, that is worth exploring. And
It doesn't even have new types in it. He likes that.
yeah, he could be happy. He could be happy. And he chooses to be miserable instead.
Anyway, about this episode again.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I have a question. Mel, did they do this because the show started to do a little bit bad again, and they
I
wanted
do
to?
have production notes about this episode because, as you can imagine, this is a very significant episode
Yes.
Yeah.
for how shoddy it is a bit, to be honest.
I guess real quickly, I could say it was directed by Noboru Kaji and written by Shinichi Ichikawa.
Okay.
I guess I'll go through my production notes. Sources as usual. Went back to the Ultra Blog DX, got some notes from the Kaiji Compendium blog. Also talked about it in the Discord, asked a bit, and the person who runs Kaiji Compendium, Easter, also told me, because they know stuff about magazines and stuff about the time, so I got some deets. So first of all, one way this is a turning point in the show, which you may be able to tell from if you watch the next episode preview for this episode, for next time. So Kaiji up until now has been largely in reflection of the show's tone, been down to earth, really grounded.
But now we're dealing with space.
There's a perception that Return of Ultraman lacked stand-up kaiju aside of like Twin Tail and Guidon. And in particular, kids sent in a survey saying, hey, we want space kaiju. So now we're getting space kaiju.
The kids were right. The kids were so right.
I do like this new kaiju designer that we have. He's doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the past few episodes have all been Ken Kamagi. Starting with a Tsunami episode.
Yeah, they have all been like a significant improvement over the previous fair.
And then this was also like this is also to some degree adding Ultra 7 again was, hey, let's boost ratings a little bit more. And so adding Ultra 7 was to appeal to older fans and settle questions of continuity, because the show had been pretty mum about it until now. Because like before, Ultra 7 was made on the understanding that like this is its own continuity. And this is the part where they officially fold it back in to the same continuity. Also, they made a new Toei power-up for Ultraman to have to appeal to the kids. And this is influential in its own way. I'm sure you can guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continues to invent
Domino
the genre.
timeline meme of the Ultra bracelet leading to Ultraman Blazer gets a Phoenix sword.
Yeah. Oh, what were you saying, Red?
Oh, I just said continues to invent the genre.
Yeah. While Kamen Rider is airing, I will add.
Yes.
And And yeah, here's what Easter said when I asked them about this, because I was like, hey, how far in advance was Ultra 7 planned to be reintegrated into the continuity? Because like I knew in advance that like, oh yeah, Ultra 7 shows up again in the show. I knew this before I did the production notes. But I wanted to sort of know like how much things are planned in advance and how much we're like sort of like we want to like boost ratings, and so we're doing it on the fly.
Right.
And they did mention that like kids magazines were in advance of this episode already saying shit about like, oh yeah, Ultra 7 comes from M78. But you know, there's also the weird case of like kids magazines being in the weird nebulous space of like there's no official story bibles, and sometimes it's just like fans who write magazines speculating, and then sometimes it's official stuff, and then sometimes it's Shoji Otomo doing his shit. So so it was sort of like it is kind of like a nebulous sort of thing of like the degree to which it was sort of planned, but also it's clear like the idea was there to some degree and they're planting the seeds. And like, hey, that one episode did have Spider. So like that isn't necessarily saying like this was them including Spider probably wasn't like, oh yeah, it's gonna definitely be a show that has Ultra 7, but it may have been like they were thinking about it. So
yeah, it's not like a Final Fantasy Crystal or Chocobo situation, but for an explosive, which would be very funny if that was the one thing that kept showing up.
Every Ultraman
this final episode.
It's time for Spiner. Oh no, the tail bombs. It naturally produces Spiner within its body.
Oh, I would have popped off if they dropped a line like that, I'll tell you what.
No. All right. Well, yeah, this episode is kind of
it's a bit more of a mess. Like I wasn't expecting Ultra 7 to be in and out. I wasn't expecting the power up to be anticlimactic.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of flying around.
I could see how if I was like 10 though, this would have been the coolest fucking shit in the world.
There's like the one thing this episode has is that Matt are dropping like flies. Like one by one we're losing members to injury. And until it's basically just the captain left flying against the captain and Oka at home. Which naturally where she belongs. That's how that works. And that's kind of it. That's kind of the juice. The other thing it has is Bemstar is really cool. I think that's kind of it. That's the two things.
We got some good birds.
We have
this time around.
I love the terrible, horrible mouth. It's so gooey.
It is.
Yeah. Fucked up that
Hello?
Karada.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. What happened?
We just talked
about
we were fine.
We were just talking about what this episode has. It has Bemstar is cool. And
Bemstar is cool guy.
And it has like the Matt members kind of dropping like flies throughout the episode. That's kind of it.
Yeah, except Oka, who is basically not here.
Yes, my exact comment. This now has to stay in the episode because my exact comment was until it's just the captain left fighting the kaiju. Well, the captain and Oka at home where she belongs naturally. So yeah, that's kind of it. Do we have anything more about this episode?
Yeah, I mean, I have stuff that's recorded when I was disconnected, I guess. So have fun with that.
Yeah, sure. I assume you're still recording. There's no.
I didn't disconnect. That would have been bad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
all
I
right.
kept the recording going.
Cool. Excellent.
I look forward to maybe hearing what you guys were saying while I was disconnected.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a podcast.
Not yet.
No. Can we get
We've called timers and also an email from our fourth host.
Oh, thank you.
Yay.
So call timer. 1 minute 45 seconds for episode 16.
Mm-hmm.
But also remember it pauses halfway through.
Yep.
which carries over to the next episode. So that first one is 49 seconds, which consolidated altogether 2 minutes 34 seconds.
Okay.
Then the second one for the actual fight, 1 minute 28 seconds. And then for the big crossover episode, they broke it. 6 minutes 18 seconds.
6 minutes,
Damn.
18 seconds.
Well, when like you're at like 2% and you real quick like charge like a couple more percent points with like your charger, and then you unplug it again, then you replug it because you need to move around, but you also need your phone charged.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he's doing by flying towards the sun, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. Ultra
Cool.
7 didn't fall into the sun's gravity.
No, Ultra 7
He's
just
built
did his
different.
fucking
That's
job.
why I was able to like save him. He's like, well, listen, I'm not affected by this.
Well, he's a smaller guy.
He's the planet
sun
man.
has less pull on him. He's the planet man, Dan. Presumably he is not Dan anymore. Oh no, yes he is. Yes, because he's Dan. Yes, sorry, I forgot the plot of Ultra 7. for a second there, I forgot the story of Ultra 7. He is still the planet man, Dan.
You know what I kind of want now?
What?
Is like an episode where Hayata comes into the picture and is just like, oh, I guess he can't even be mad about Ultraman not going back to him because he's gonna be like,
Who are you?
who the fuck's that guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like Go will remember his experience, right?
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
I think
Go
clearly,
Go understands that he. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's clearly like a divide between Ultraman and Go in this case, more like with Gento and Blazer.
Yeah.
Where it's more obvious there are two other
Hayata
guys.
Hayata is replaced for the duration of the show, Ultraman.
Yeah.
And then wakes up and has to figure out that he was Ultraman. All right, emails.
Yeah. Email. So Cedrixar is back with an email. He
Thank you
says,
for your
"We are
email.
back. Happy New Year, all. Hope Sandy Claus got you all you desired."
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Xbox. Allow me to first say that if any of you three looked at the titled episode 18 prior to watching it, despite initial warnings, congrats on getting spoiled. Welcome to the Ultraverse, baby.
Yep.
Well, certainly sad to see the Matt theme go from the end of the podcast now. At least it's been replaced with a pretty good, in brackets, not as good as the actual P Fight Me song.
Cydrixer, I'll fight you. Which is time and a place. Name it.
I think I'm on Team Red with this one.
You could actually go fight them. You're both in the UK.
Damn, doxed.
There is, I believe, one more point coming up where you'll want the music changing, so I'll provide the track when the time arises.
Oh.
Yeah. Guess I may as well pass over my translated song video for a turn. In order, the tracks are the OP, the song about Matt, in the very redundant title of Song of Matt Team. I'll figure out why
Song
it's
of Matt
redundant.
Team. Yeah.
An Ondo track about various monsters in the show that goes on for way too long, a rock song all about various kaiju from the show, a song recorded by the late Ichiro Mizuki in the 90s using the instrumental of the Ultraman battle theme, and the lyrics of Tatakai Ultraman, and finally Tatakai Ultraman itself. Yeah, that sounds a pretty hefty playlist. That's fine.
Who do I know this guy has? Ichiro Mizuki. Oh, this guy. Oh, right. Yes. This guy's a fucking big deal. Yes. Ichiro Mizuki. It's just mech anime fucking and like classic guy, and like Toku OP guy. Yes. The Jam. Yeah, he's in fucking Jam Project.
Yeah.
Alright. Sick.
About the weird episode with the ghosts and the house burning down. He saw us like, him and a group that he's been watching the show. in a server was like, for everything found, like one of the pictures looked like Elton John, which I think is funny.
Elton John's dead now. That's how that happened. Was his painting burned?
Oh no. And then they have a question for us. How do you feel about all these new creatives are handling the series so far? Do you like the changes they bring, or would you prefer to stay as it was?
I like a lot of the changes they bring. There's like as we're getting later into the thing, I feel like there's an increasing space for more fun, weird shit. But it's, you know, obviously it's not quite Ultra 7 in that way, which is Ultra 7 is just always just fucking wacky. But I do like the really kind of invested in characters. Trying to present. I have to emphasize trying because this week was a miss.
Rough.
Trying to present like more complex characters, and willing to go places with them. But yeah, I think I've, you know, I like Go despite the fact he keeps hitting people.
Yeah.
And I like the cat. I like Matt. I think Matt's doing all right. I love Kishida. He's my favorite. He sucks.
The guy who sucks.
This is sent now. In case anyone hasn't realized this about me, who has been listening to the show, I always like the guy who fucking sucks.
I overall think that it's going in the right direction and it's succeeding more than it's failing in, you know, taking the series in a new direction. The one thing that I think really is like a bummer for me so far, but I feel like we're kind of like we talked about earlier in the episode already starting to resolve, is there's just not a lot of standout kaiju for me. Like Twin Tail is kind of the one that's really sticking right now, but I feel like as we go further on, there's going to be more memorable monsters, to take away from. But that's like the one part where it's like, this is a show about fighting kaiju, and the kaiju so far have kind of been obligatory feeling in a sense. But I do like Go. I do like the greater emphasis on the setting and making it feel more like a fleshed out, like, version of like, hey, this is taking place in Japan, and, you know, it's a place people live, and, you know, their lives are being impacted by this. We're worrying about, like, you know, evacuating civilians and showing how people's day-to-day lives are being impacted by these monster attacks. I am happy that, like, Jiro and Ken and Aki are all there. I don't know if I'm entirely sold that the series is making good on making them like a part of Go's life quite yet. Mm-hmm. And seeing what they're doing with all of that, but I hope as, you know, we get more and more episodes, we start to get more interesting stuff with them. Like, this could have been an opportunity, that two-parter, to have more interesting stuff going on with them. It's just how they chose to handle it this time was bad.
Yeah.
But the possibility space for them to do that sort of focus on them for, you know, a subplot of an episode, but do it well, is still there, and I hope to see them find their footing with that.
Yeah, I think I also agree. Like, I feel like we're building on and doing more interesting stuff than we had with the just Ultraman on its own. And there is some of the less experimental weird stuff from Ultra 7, but, like, there's a bit more, like, the guys are guys to a great degree. And, like, there's a degree to which they still need to be more guys, but, like, you know. And more not guys, like women.
Yeah. You know,
Anne isn't amazing, but, like, doing better than the woman in this show.
Yes, Anne's role is, like, not enviable, but, like, it's a role. It's like she's like, it's a part that she plays, and it's not like, It's like lackluster, but it's not demeaning.
Yeah, like they put her a lot as like cooperating with Dan.
Mm-hmm.
As like his homie more, so.
Yes. She spends a lot of time with Dan. Yeah.
And meanwhile here it's like, Oka isn't even on screen enough to be disrespected in the way that like Fuji is. And then
remember when she just fell down a mountain?
I remember thinking, oh yeah, there's an episode about Fuji, and the ski kid whose name I forget. And then he's the one who calls on the radio because she's unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was the poison gas
the
one. That's
other
right.
thing about the return of Ultraman, the significant thing that we've noticed that we brushed past earlier in the two-parter, is its weird habit that it keeps coming back to of people who like suffer injury and then are just like fine.
Yeah.
Because
especially when Ken exists.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, there's like it's like this poetic like resolution of this arc, and it just keeps doing this same thing. They had like Go just trained his way out of a leg injury. They had the woman in the ghost in the cabin who again trained her way out of a severe injury. Then we had the kid who's just fit. He's like his mobility just completely fixed because we defeated the kaiju,
the fucking
that
turtle
that was haunting him. It was a metaphor, and it was haunting him. His limp was a metaphor.
And this time through love, she's able to once more see.
Yes, and if
love
anyone,
for the person who bombed her.
Yes, and if anyone told Ken about any of this, he'd be so angry. He'd be like, "Why can't Ultraman fix my fucking legs?"
Especially wait till he finds out that Go is Ultraman.
Yes, Go's just out here. He's truly
maybe
Jesus Christ healing people. And one day Ken's gonna find out, and he's gonna be like, "So were you ever gonna, me?"
And Go has to hide the fact that he's like, well, if Ken gets healed, then I can't drive the meteor.
This is
all set up.
Yes, it's all gonna pay off in the last episode, and it's gonna pay off in the last episode, and we're gonna retroactively be like, "Well, it's a masterpiece." All those episodes earlier that were stupid and ludicrous, actually very clever and smart and considered.
True.
Shows her heart as a genius.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking like this is all set up for Ken to become the Sasuke.
Oh yes.
He's gonna betray them at some point and be like, can fucking fix my legs. Alien something or other.
Ide's gonna pick him up.
Ide fixes his leg by turning her into Jamila.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's like a, I will restore your mobility to you.
And then when Ultraman
yeah.
and when Ultraman defeats Ken Jamila, this is what makes Jiro turn over to the Ide side.
Yeah, there's a really heartfelt scene where like Kishida confronts Ide. He's like, "Why would you do such a thing? Why would you turn him into a monstrosity like that?" Then Ide will turn and say, "That's how it always is with victims. Only the words are pretty."
Man. This fake show we've invented in our heads seems pretty stupid, but pretty good.
I hope other Ultraman fans enjoy this fake Ultraman show we keep inventing on the fly.
Yeah.
This bizarre political thriller, like really deep in the moral, ethical quandaries.
Ide rogue agent who has come back come back to...
Ide's in handcuffs being, like, slapped around by one of the captains, and he's like, you ever hear about the non-mults captain? You ever read those documents? That boy loved the entire ocean, all of it.
Right. The thing is, it would be so cool.
It would be so good. I think I'm convinced. I think this podcast is an exercise in me convincing myself that maybe fanfiction's all right.
Maybe fanfiction is good. At least the ones I make. Everyone else is just bad.
Everyone else is bad.
Yeah.
It's a weird coincidence, but only mine is good. All right. That's an episode.
I just want to hit one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
He's not the so Kiyotaka Kataguchi is the main director on Blazer, but he's not like the only director for episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't been doing like production notes on the episodes, but he does say that like he did the first 3, the middle 3, and the last 2 episodes of the show, and the rest are a smaller pool of creatives that have been like mainstays for the 2010s, now 2020s Ultraman seasons. So you know, like now, basically.
Yeah.
Don't Fix It's Broken, but nice to see them bring more people in or give some other existing directors a chance to be a showrunner, just because, you know, Takuchi has been showrunner for like a bunch of shows at this point, so
Yeah.
new showrunner would be interesting.
Yeah.
Only 5 people have been showrunner across the last 10 main Ultraman seasons, so new blood might be good.
Might be. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your email, Cydrixer. That's an episode of the podcast. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at ultra_q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. I'm also on Twitter. I'm at gender_redacted. Mel.
You can follow me on Twitter and the Blueskis.
The Blueskis.
Yeah, the Blueskis.
Nice.
I'm rooting for them this year.
There's a brain fart. Email ultraqpod@gmail.com. There's also the fund for subs and stuff. Eventually, inshallah. Brad.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at B_invoked. That's BE_INVOKED. You can also find me on Blue Skies. I'm at BInvoked, all one word, no space or anything on there. And then also my YouTube channel, which is Canopus Invoke, Canopus spelled like the star. And I'm streaming Tekken with my friend Jake still in time, catching up for Tekken 8. And who knows, maybe I'll try streaming like some Granblue or something. I've been playing that a lot, so I don't know if I've got a spare chance this week. Maybe I'll play a little bit of that. I have tomorrow off, actually, so maybe that'd be a good time, too. We'll see.
All right. Sick. Cool. Now, next week we'll be watching 3 more episodes of Return of Ultraman.
We're entering the 20s.
Yeah.
Unlike me, next month.
Wait, are we? What episodes are we watching?
19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. We got through that quick.
Yeah.
All right. Sick. See us there. See us there? See you there. You'll see us there as well.
We will see. We'll see each other there.
No one's seeing anything. This is an audio show. Bye-bye.
Oh, we have a YouTube.
Oh, yeah, we do.
The YouTube is also ultra cute.
Mm-hmm.
I keep forgetting to plug the YouTube, but that's okay. Sammy, you're listening there.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
ビルを壊すぞ地響き立てて吠える怪獣大怪獣ふわっと開いた口から炎辺り一面焼け野原間違ってない死が迫る 帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン十字を組んで狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んでキック一発近くに寄ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン戦い進んで見上げる空に一つ輝く僕の星遠く離れて地球に一人あれがふるさとだ正義と平和を守るため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ